All right. Welcome, subscribers. We're excited to have you here in this video. And I believe this video is called, well, let me just write it out since it's not here. It should be at the top of your note handout, but it's Unit 4.1. That's what the U is for, Unit C. And what we're doing today is we're graphing lines. That's the main focus, graphing lines in standard form, okay? Be sure that you have the date right here, okay? As you're watching this video, put the date down, please, because it will be asked on notebook quizzes, perhaps. So we want to look at this first problem, and it's kind of a quick review. You can see how it says it's a review. What we want to do is we want to find the x-intercept of the graph of this equation. Now, when we're looking at a graph of an equation, and we're trying to find the x-intercept, we need to think about a couple of different things. So let's see what we can do here. I wonder if this, trying to see if I can get a... Okay, well, this will be a better scroller. So you take a look here, and we want to find the x-intercept. So if you can remember, what do you do to find the x-intercept? You set what to what and solve, and what do you do? What do we do? How do we find the x-intercept? Think about that for a second. Okay, so my class has crickets, as I asked them that, right? We are recording now, and we just don't remember the x-intercept. So the x-intercept was on last unit, and basically, or last section, and what you're doing is you're setting y equal to 0, and you're solving. Okay? So that's what you need to do. So let's take this equation, and let's replace y with 0 in this equation. So what's this equation going to be if I replace y with 0? The same exact equation, just replace y with 0. So I'm going to go over here and do some work. I'm going to have 3x plus y, but y is being replaced with 0 is equal to negative 9. So isn't that just straight up 3x is equal to negative 9? Right? And when I divide both sides, I'm going to have x is equal to negative 3. So the point, the x-intercept of this is negative 3 comma 0. And in this multiple choice question, do we want to answer A, B, C, or D? A. Thank you for the overwhelming response. So A is our answer for this problem. Why don't you pause the video and give this number 2 a shot? It's talking about the y-intercept. Guess what? You're doing the same thing that I did in all this blue writing, but you're doing it opposite. You're trying to find the y when the x is equal to
0.
That's right, when the x is equal to 0. So pause the video and give that problem a try. So this answer was F. So be aware that the answer is F. Negative 4 is the y-intercept, but you need to show work to get to that answer. So please do show work if you're doing this video at home or whether you're doing it in class. Whatever you're doing, make sure you're showing work for that and kind of making it clear that you've done that out. So now I want to graph this equation. I know it says graph, but it doesn't say what to graph. So I want you to graph 2x minus 3y is equal to 12. So if you look at this point right here and you found that the answer was F, the y-intercept was F, you probably get the point 0, negative 4. That's one point that you got, right? And now we want another point, because to graph a line, I'm going to say something that's very important. I'm going to say this quite a few times. To graph a line, all you need is 2 points on the line. And we found 1 point on the line. This is an important thing to remember. To graph a line, you need 2 points on the line. We've now found 1 point on the line. What's the other point on the line we could find? Was that last question? No, it was a different equation. So if we found the y-intercept, what do you think we need to do now? Find the x-intercept. So I'm going to find the x-intercept for this problem. I'm going to set y to 0. So that's just completely gone. I kind of just, what I did was when I set y to 0, I just kind of erased the whole y term because it's going to be 0, yeah? And I'm finding that x is equal to 6 here. So if x is equal to 6, my next point is going to be 6 comma what? 0. So I want you to plot that green point, 6 comma 0, which is right on the edge here. And I want you to plot the black point, which is right down here, right there. And guess what? We now are able to graph a line here. So let me try to fix this a little bit. Not the best yet. Here we go. And that's the equation of that line. So put arrows on your line. It goes on forever, right? And this is the equation of this line. So let me highlight this for a moment. you've now graphed a line. If I'm asking you to graph this, okay, so continuing on, we're at number 3 here. And we want to look at this. It says the total amount of fiber in a package with X apples and Y oranges is given by the equation 5x plus 10y equals 110. We want to identify and interpret the Y-intercept. So if it's the Y-intercept, we know we're setting the X equal to 0. And we know for the X-intercept, we're setting the Y equal to 0. So I'm going to fill in half of the work already. You see what I mean? So if the X is going to equal 0 in this first one here, what's going to happen in this equation? This is going to now be 5 times 0 plus 10y equals 110, right? So that's just 10y equals 110. And how do we get y alone? We divide by 10. So this is going to be 11. That's going to be the answer there. I want to also interpret that. So how many apples do I have and how many oranges do I have in part A? How many apples do I have? How many apples do I have? Apples is X, right? Yes. You have 11 oranges because 11 is representing the Y. So you have 11 oranges and you have how many apples? Yes? You actually have 0 apples because this is apples and this is oranges. You have 0 apples and 11 oranges, right? Yeah. So that's okay. So now I want you to pause the video and try part B. So doing the same thing as I did in part A, pause the video, find and interpret the X-intercept. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video and give that a shot. So remember, you have paused the video and you've given this thing a try, okay? Make sure you show work to get there, but we do know that it's going to be 22 apples and 0 oranges. Please show the work to get there for credit. Now we want to talk about how many grams of fiber an orange contains. How much fiber do you think is in an orange according to this? Well, if we look at the equation, it has another bit of information with the Y. What's the bit of information you see with the Y? An orange has a what next to it? What does the Y have next to it? We'll use orange. 10. So there are 10 grams of fiber in an orange. If there are 10 grams in a fiber in an orange, you should be able to tell me what you think there are in an apple for fiber, right? So what do you think is in an apple? We'll use red for apples, yes? 5 grams of fiber in an apple, so that's good. Could the package contain 15 apples? That's a good question. Could the package contain 15 apples? That's the last thing we need to be thinking about here. What are your thoughts? Is it possible? Is it not possible? Why or why not? So we know the package looks like this. So what if we plugged in 15 for X here? What would happen? Plug in 15 for X, yes?
It would be 75.
Cool, so 15, so 5, and then we're going to plug in 15 for apples, right? Plus 10y, we don't know what that is. And that's 110, right? So you said 15 times 5 is 75 grams of fiber, which is? Yeah, so there's still space left, right? So because of that, I would say, yeah, there's still room to get to our 110 grams of fiber, right, on this equation. Does that make sense? So I would say the answer is the package could contain 15 apples, because that'd be 75 grams of fiber, and we can go up to 110, right? The package is going to contain 110 grams of fiber. So the answer is yes, it could happen. So that's a word problem with like X and Y intercepts analysis, that type of thing. Hopefully that made some sense. Make sure to take good notes, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.